This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio. We're brought to you by championnews.net, and we're your choice for the conservative voice. This is Carol Parisi. Today our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have a very special guest with us, and it is the author of the Illinois Pension Scam book, Mr. Bill Zettler. And good morning, Jack. How are you this fine Sunday?
I'm feeling great, and I'm really feeling good that we've got Bill Zettler on here. Let me tell you a little bit about the Z-Man.
The Z-Man?
That's a good name.
Right, he's at the end of my big flesh telephone book. How many years have I known you, Bill? Maybe 6 or 8?
Yeah, about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, for years, we at the Champion News, and before that, the Family Taxpayer Foundation, we published the salaries of all of the teachers and administrators in the whole state of Illinois. I was publishing that for, and why? Well, I've been on the hunt to find out what's wrong with the education system of Illinois for about 40 years. I'm old, I'm 90 years old, and I'm disgusted with what the teaching system in this state has been. It's corrupted this whole state, corruption, and it's also paid for the union so much money that the union has completely diverted the education of all our children to what the union wants them to hear. And as a result, they don't teach arithmetic or morals in the public schools.
No, they don't teach arithmetic, because on our Champion News YouTube site, it's shown that one of the teachers says it doesn't matter if they get the right answer from...
There's a lot to be said on this, but
yes.
Returning to Bill. Bill, you're in a business of making...
software. We develop software.
He develops software, okay. Mm-hmm. He's also, unknown to me, was doing that, and he has this other ability to investigate piles of data. And he seized on this stuff that we'd been publishing for 15 years, and he wrote a number of letters, I don't know, maybe 50 or 60 of them, on his own initiative, and finally we got acquainted. And I'd asked you to do many things, and so we actually pay you for your expertise in this thing. And he'd written about 150 pages. It was a fantastic analysis of every phase of what's going on in the wasteful education system. I've investigated it, but from a different direction. I went after things like, why do all of the school districts pay from 4 to 10 times too much to fix a leaky roof? And I've discovered that the worst run organization in the whole state is the K-12 system. And why? It's because it's run by the IEA Teachers Union. But Bill went ahead on his own initiative and made so many good articles. We finally got working together. And some months ago, I asked Bill to take some 150 or so analysis he'd written about the thing and to put it into a book form, which he did. And surprisingly, with all of the data that he's been pouring down his own eyes for so long, and that can be boring to a lot of us. When you open this book, you see a lot of columns of data, but you also see 51 chapters written in here. Each one is almost a cowboy story of, you open this up, okay, read that chapter. It's fun. And if you crack this book, you're going to read that chapter and then some more of the 51 of it. This man's a great author, and he's done a marvelous thing by revealing the immense waste that's gone on in the education system in the state of Illinois. Why does it cost $16,000 per child? That's well over well, it depends on the size of the classroom, but we're talking $300,000 or $400,000 a year per classroom. I mean, it's unbelievable. You could spend that much money on miseducating kids. So that's a tremendous background that Bill has brought to a factual study of the miseducation of the most expensive organization in the state of Illinois that has done more to corrupt the political system and to bring Illinois to its knees as the worst of the 50 states in terms of corruption and the worst of the 50 states in terms of being just plain busted financially. We're in the, no question about it, the people that rate the financial stability of the state have put Illinois at the very bottom.
Number 50.
So, Bill, I'm just amazed at that talent you brought to this thing, and you're kind of a quiet guy, and you haven't done any bragging. I'm just astounded at what you've done, and God love you.
Thank you, Jack, very much.
So I think we should turn this over to you. You're on this program to tell people about some of these outrageous things that are going on.
Bill, you did some research. Now, you just said Illinois is 50 of 50. What does that mean to our listeners? What does that mean to taxpayers?
Well, it means to taxpayers that since Illinois owes so much money with bonds, they've borrowed $17 billion just for the pensions, for example, and they have a low credit rating.
$17 billion.
$17 billion.
How many zeros are there in that?
That's more than I can count. So,
well, it's 1 zero less or a few zeros less than our national debt, I guess.
Right. So every time we borrow money, which is all the time, the interest rates are higher, which means we pay more. Of course, the taxpayers pay all the interest on all the bonds. And of course, we're going to reach the point where we can't borrow money at any cost, which will be a disaster because we've got $7 billion in unpaid bills. We really should pay that off. That's been there for how long now? 5 years?
Is it paid? Is it going to be able to be paid off?
That $7 billion includes a lot of people that are laying on their backs and in hospitals, all kinds of things, doesn't it? That's the debt for the education system is far larger than that.
Oh yes, right. No, that's just the accounts payable that hasn't been paid by the state. There's all kinds of things just for their bills.
Yeah.
Just for their bills. So every year, the state takes, it was $5 billion, now it's $6 billion and $7 billion. They don't pay it so that they can keep their budget on schedule. Because if they paid those $7 billion in bills that they have owed, some of them for over a year, then of course we're $7 billion in the hole on the budget.
Madigan
so the whole thing is
also sold bonds, about almost $4 billion worth of bonds in the last pay period to cover those expenses in the pensions.
Right.
And we still got the unpaid bills for all of the things that the state thinks it has to do for people, and some of those are important.
Yeah,
we got highways and sick people that can't help themselves. Then the bills pile up.
But is that integrated within the pension system? All of that stuff, like
no, they're different organizations.
Different
totally
liabilities that we owe as a state.
This state has dug the deepest damned money hole for itself of all 50 states. Everything it touches in every direction is in debt.
The issue is the pension used to take a little bite out of the budget.
Right.
And bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So this year it's going to be about $8 billion, which is over 20% of the operating budget, just to pay pensions, pay people who aren't working anymore.
Is this teachers' pensions exclusively, or does this include?
No, all the state. The 5 state pension funds will cost about $8 billion, including the pensions.
What are the 5 state pension funds?
That's the teachers' fund, the university, state employees,
this is
General
not 5
Assembly
different
and the
states.
judges.
This is one state that has 5 organizations all in debt.
It's all bureaucracy.
Absolutely.
It's all
I
of
want
our...
to make that clear. This doesn't include Missouri. We've dug this hole right here in Illinois.
Absolutely.
So it's the teachers, it's the colleges, it's the
state employees, the politicians in the General Assembly, such as Jim Edgar gets $130,000 a year. Just mention that, and the judges.
Okay.
The judges, as a percentage, have the most $100,000 pensions.
Why do judges need pensions? Just a question, because don't judges have law firms and private things?
They would
that
argue
have
that they
done?
gave up private practice to be a judge, therefore they deserve a big
But
pension.
what is a judge's salary per year?
120 to 180.
Let's
They could-
go
okay.
into education is where the big hole is.
The big hole is in education. That's because 60% of the pensions are K to 12, 60%.
So
If you include-
60% of these 5 is the K to 12 school system?
Yes, and
Okay.
if you count all the education system, including the university,
Okay.
then
What-
you're talking about
what-
80% of the pension
What
is
is the
educators.
maximum size of pensions we got in the
You know
state?
what?
Isn't it over $400,000?
The highest pension in
We're
the
going
state
to
is
hear.
500.
We're going to hear about it when we come back after the break. We have some stunning and compelling numbers for you to hear. Stay with us. Don't go away. You're going to want to hear this. This is your tax dollars.